How do you exploit weak squares in chess? Imagine a battlefield where certain spots are left unguarded, waiting for a clever soldier to occupy them. That's what weak squares are in chess, squares that your opponent cannot easily defend. When you spot these, you gain a powerful advantage. Weak squares often appear in front of pawn chains or where your opponent's pawn structure has been compromised. They're usually on the third or fourth ranks for white and the fifth or sixth for black. The key is to place your pieces on these squares to control the game. Knights are especially good because they can hop onto weak squares and influence many other squares around them. Once a knight sits on a weak square, it becomes a thorn in your opponent's side, limiting their options and creating threats. But just putting a piece there isn't enough. You need to support it with pawns or other pieces to prevent your opponent from kicking it out easily. Think of it as creating a stronghold in enemy territory. If your opponent has pieces defending a weak square, consider exchanging or provoking them to move away. Removing their defenders makes your occupation more secure. You can also create weaknesses in your opponent's position by forcing pawn moves that leave certain squares undefended or fixing their pawns in ways that leave holes. These holes become your targets. Once you control a weak square, it can serve as a base for launching attacks or invading their position. For example, a knight deep inside enemy lines on a weak square can threaten their king or key pieces, forcing them to divert resources to deal with it. Using these squares effectively can lead to tangible benefits like winning material, creating passed pawns, or setting up a decisive attack. The goal is to turn the control of these weak spots into a long-term advantage. So always be on the lookout for undefended squares in your opponent's camp. Place your strongest pieces there, support them well, and use them as launching pads for further operations. When you do this, you turn small positional advantages into winning opportunities. Remember, exploiting weak squares is a core part of middle game strategy and can often decide the outcome of the game.